Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are doing yet another Twitch recap. We're starting off with our crew here on the surface of Mars once again, as we are getting them ready to make their ascent to Harmonia Station in low Mars orbit. First thing we're going to do is consolidate some of our life support supplies. They still have quite a while on the surface, actually. A lot of this is TAC life support, catching up with everything going on here on the Mars base. They actually have far less supplies than this. It's just when you first render in the vessel, it takes a little while to calculate all of the used life support supplies since the last time you uh, checked in on the vessel. As you can see, our life support stuff draining there quite rapidly. That is just catching up with all the time we have spent away from our crew here, as they've been doing something interesting, I'm sure, building sandcastles, examining rocks, being confined inside their tiny little habitation module thing, which is upside down on the surface. I'm sure that made for quite a pleasant more than a year here on the surface of Mars, which is our longest stay for any crew by a very large margin. But so now that the life support stuff has balanced out, we are going to switch vessels many times until we can get back to our base, quote unquote, proper, and refill this tiny little life support tank that we are going to attach with us on our Ascent stage vessel. MAV3, I guess, is what we've been calling it lately. One of the parts that broke on our unfortunate landing event here was the, I guess, primary life support tank. But yeah, we have to fill that up and attach it to our ascent stage, but we are interrupted by Kerbal Alarm Clock. We've still got a couple of, we've got about 100 days here, so we're going to go ahead and take care of the Jovian Moon Surface Explorer in orbit of Jupiter, as it is about to make a correction to start doing its gravity assist flybys. This mission is hopefully bound for Callisto, where it will make a soft landing and hopefully gather lots and lots of science on the way in. So about 50 days out from its maneuver node, we'll just go ahead and warp on through to that and then make a 8.5 meter per second correction, which will hopefully put us on course to do the first of very many flybys that will help lower the orbit of the vessel into something a little bit more approachable, so that we can make a very easy insertion into Callisto orbit, and then start to make our landing approach. Of course, that's several years off from now. I do need to go back and double check the terms of the contract, make sure that we're not going to run over on time for that limit. This was a quite a profitable contract, which is why I took it, especially after the Ganymede lander did so well. This is basically just a carbon copy of that vessel. So initially on thruster power only, because we've got quite a bit of time to burn until we actually get to our node. We'll light up that AJ-10 for just the briefest of seconds before finishing out just a couple of seconds past the node, and eventually we'll see our resultant orbit start to drop down as a result of our flyby, and we can actually get it really low. But of course, we should probably examine this. But we'll first focus on Jupiter and then Ganymede. Yeah, that is an impact course. So we're going to have to adjust ourselves out. Ganymede, of course, just stopping in to say hi. We'll get a nice low periapsis and get as much of the benefit from this flyby as we can. I will just take a quick measure here to see how low we can get our resultant orbit and at what delta V expenditure. It really just doesn't look that great. For 95 meters per second, we could actually probably do that a little better, but we'll go ahead and let this one be a passive flyby first time through. So we will set our alarm, and that's actually very profitable. And a quick check-in with our Jasper mission over here before we have more than a few things to touch in and take care of today. So we'll hit this jump to ship, and then come out here to our Jasper mission, which of course made a successful capture into Jupiter orbit. And well, it was propulsive. We had hoped to Aero capture, but we were not low enough. But our primary goal here now is to gather some atmospheric data from inside of Jupiter's atmosphere. We have these two little drop probes on the side that we will be using to take care of that. We're just going to try to balance out our fuel load a little bit, see what we're looking at. As far as our total available delta V, it's about 5 kilometers per second in the primary vehicle, which leaves us lots of room to do lots of very interesting things here. We're just kind of reassessing our mission plan. Originally, we had hoped to return this small little upper section of the probe back to Earth just to test the viability of more than a few aspects of a mission parameter there. I don't know if we're actually going to have the delta V to do that, but I guess time will tell. With the heat shield jettisoned and a node plotted, we'll jump back out here to Mars and then warp on into Duster 1, which is, of course, our vehicle before we can finish doing some of our prep work here on the surface of Mars, now that we've given the crew a little more time to sit around and contemplate things. Quite a nice little screenshot opportunity there, but we'll jump out and warp ourselves around and try to get a good place where we are underneath Harmonia Station and we can start thinking about actually making our ascent. So we're just going to try to let ourselves come underneath that orbital path. It's going to take us a little while, but that doesn't look too terribly bad, and we do need some kind of a time buffer because we have lots of things to prepare. So we will gather up some of our stored scientific data and then set about getting our ascent stage prepped and ready for its final journey up to Mars orbit, hopefully. So it's time to start loading the crew out and getting our last little bits of things done. Duster 1 proving always to be super, super useful. Probably one of the best, if not ugliest, rovers used during the duration of this space program. From being built from junk, this thing has been surprisingly useful and surprisingly versatile. I'm going to miss the little guy. Anyway, so we do have a few changes of things that we need to make, namely, how is the crew going to get in? Because if you touch that ladder wrong, it ejects you very high into the air. And if we break that solar panel, this whole thing is kind of screwed. Although we do have one on our surface base here, we could probably scavenge to make work, but we need to get the ascent stage booted up, get the batteries unlocked, get the life support unlocked, and start to make our final preparations here. So our engineer Laura Douglas has quite a bit of work to do. First step here is going to be attaching some RTGs and, of course, this life support tank that will hopefully give them the duration they will need to actually make rendezvous. For right now, we're just going to bolt it on the side. Hopefully, we're going to be able to attach it to the very tippy top of our ascent stage, provided, of course, we can actually climb that high. So we're going to approach from the side that does not contain the solar panel, but while we have the butt kind of in the air, we'll go ahead and attach these RTGs to the underside. Hopefully they will make up enough of the electric charge deficit from the solar panel that we lost during our very unfortunate landing, and every time we have to switch vehicles around a whole lot, everything goes crazy, and it worries me quite a lot, because one bad load in and everything could just go completely wrong. So for the first step, we unloaded the life support supplies from our external canister into the Ascent pods. That did drain most of it, and just to make sure that we have enough, we're going to actually go back and refill that canister from the surface base and make sure that when we launch to orbit, we have as much life support supplies as we can possibly carry up with us. This is really the only canister we have that will fit cleanly, can be carried by a Kerbal. Yeah, any of these things. We're also going to take that external seat for reasons. Well, it will help us carry all 3 Kerbals back in one go. It will also take this third RTG because, hey, why not? It could probably be useful at some point. And of course, all the loading in, bouncing around, get out of your upside down habitation pod and then get back into the rover. So that is our entire crew of 4. One of them is already on station, so there's that. And then of course I've forgotten something critical. Yes, the life support canister. The whole reason we came back here was to fill this canister. So we do have a computer core on board the habitat proper, so we actually can fill this thing up without too much effort. And that would be that. We are abandoning some life support supplies down here. They could probably stay on station for a little while longer, but I don't know. It just seems like the time is right to get them back into orbit. I think they've been left down here long enough. We should be good to go. I'm sure they're very, very eager to leave this place and start thinking about getting home, or at least getting to a place that's not a pile of junk haphazardly assembled on the surface with a screwdriver. So, yeah, first attempt to try to load doesn't go quite well. Lots of jumping and banging your head into a ladder, but good thing is you don't have to be an engineer to force retract antenna, and then you can cleanly climb into the pod. Did I collect the other batch of science? I'm pretty sure I did, right? I did that first run? Well, too late now. Anyway, so our engineer, Laura Douglas, will attach the life support canister, and this is obviously the easier way to ascend. We'll just retract that solar panel, get it out of the way, and of course it does not want to attach cleanly, and now that it's attached, we can't reach it. that figures. We can reach it to attach, but not to unattach, and getting onto the roof of this thing is proving problematic at the very least. So yeah, we're going to try to collect some of the ladder things and maybe make an approach from the other side where we have a small ladder at the bottom. I think we can probably, I don't know, do a better job from if we have another ladder segment. You see there's another ladder segment at the very top of the pod and it's kind of angled. That is how we have gotten to the top of this pod before to detach the docking port that was there and was disposed of. And of course we do also always have the option of climbing on top of the rover, but with the antennas positioned the way they are, we can kind of lean one side down, and that makes things a little easier for the climbing, if of course you can grab the appropriate ladder. So we'll just detach that one for right now, make a jump, and then eventually end up on top of the ascent stage. So in order to keep the weight balance, I would have liked to have stacked these things, although of course node attach for this canister, which was originally radially attached, is weird. It will not attach centered, so I'm hoping to offset it with the RTG just a little bit, although I'm not entirely sure it's going to work that way. So we will detach our ladder segments. We'll attach this one just to make ingress and getting in and getting out a little easier. Maybe we won't have to do so much jumping, you'd think anyway, but just as a last resort, we'll make sure that we have, or what samples we have. We're trying to split them between the 2 Ascent pods, half to go to the lab and half to go with us back to Earth. And then eventually, we'll get the rest of our crew loaded in. This thing is so awkward without the support ladders that it was originally intended with. And then there's some issues transferring around the science to make sure things were balanced, but that's just the way things are sometimes in this game. So we'll need to bring this other side down so that Laura Douglas could actually get into the pod where there is room to get into the pod now that the rest of the crew is all loaded up. And we'll go ahead and ditch these ladders so that we're not carrying the extra weight, because it does count no matter what. And well, I will tell you, we did attempt to launch this into orbit this stream, but well, it got interesting, we'll say. Yeah, we set our target, we did the launch, some things happened, and there was a crackening. Not much time. Ground control, we have a problem, pretty much. Policy, what are you doing, man? Don't waste EVA fuel. I'm gonna need it. Whoa! Whoa! Dude! What the hell? What is happening? Oh god. RCS is off. Everything is off. Why is this thing changing speed? Why is our periapsis getting lower? Why didn't I quick save? What the hell is happening? Phantom forces. It's the curse. The Kraken is real. It's still shifting. Look at this. I mean, I don't have any real choice except to load the last quick save, which I'm pretty sure was on the surface. You'll need it for that. Good call, Saber. So many questions. Yeah, here's the problem. I'm pretty sure the last quick save was on the surface. Please don't explode. Please don't explode. Render. Well, that was a mighty fun simulation we had of all these things that we're going to have to do. Oh, come on. Alright, now this is the Veos curse. We'll have to see if a total game restart will fix this one, but that's going to do it for this one, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So, until then, see you later.